What the fuck is this? You're telling me that this deck has actually been hyped up enough for this slut over here, called Apprentice Illusion Magician, to reach $120? Are you kidding me? Let me tell you guys something. I'm going to be talking in this video today about why Dark Magician is nothing more than absolute and utter garbage. And I wanted to hold this video back a little bit because I wanted to see if she was going to tank down. People would realize how shady and trashy his deck really is. Somebody, like the person that did a buyout on her on TCG Player, one of the two things is concluding. They're trying to make money off of this because they believe that it will sell at some point, or they believe that they could use it, that the deck is really good. These are both dumb and irrelevant, invalid claims. Arguably, only the real Dark Magician fans were going to buy copies of her, and the majority of them already secured their copies with the Shonen Jump printing of this card. And arguably, this card is going to be able to maintain its value for as long as there's not a reprint of this card in like a special edition or something like that. You know what I'm saying? So, for like a year, you're going to have to put up with this card going from anywhere from 75 up. Yep. And now we're going to go to TCG Player to show you guys what I have for this recording live. And we're back. Apprentice Illusion Magician. The market price supposedly $76.35, but let's go down here. Boom! Boom! $140. And multiple copies of this card are rolling out now. But the more expensive copies are selling for $199, $9.99, $225, got $150 here. So basically anywhere from $140 to $150 right now for her on TCG Player. These are the copies that you have available online right now to purchase. And it's not like you could take OCG exclusive copies, buy and pay $20 and pay $60 for a playset of OCG staple playsets of this fucking card, and take them to your locals, and your locals will allow them to you to use them. Because more than not likely, your locals will not be allowing you to use this card if you don't have the English version. If you have the English version, then they can't say anything. If you can prove that it's real at all, they can't say anything. They can't bitch. They have to let the games play out. Some locals would like to allow these OCG exclusive cards to be allowed in the tournaments, but they simply can't because their licensing for Konami's exclusive tournaments would indeed be at risk. So keep in mind that there. Therefore, not gonna happen. And it's actually quite sad seeing that this card is gonna be expensive like this until like next year around May or June or July, where they do a special edition of this card. And furthermore, she'll end up becoming a $4 or $5 card at maximum. And that's being generous. This deck is entirely garbage. And I'm going to break down the main reason that this deck is entirely trash. And again, it all starts from this spell card. Not spell card. Sorry, guys. This trap card called Eternal Soul. And I'm going to read it out to you guys so you guys will know what it does. Every Dark Magician in your monster zone is unaffected by your opponent's card effects. Yeah, let's hope you don't run into any kaijus, right? When this card leaves this face-up card leaves the field, destroy all monsters you control. That, friends, right there, is where this card really got ruined. You can actually Castel the Skyblaster Musketeer, this fucking card, off the field. And guess what, guys? Reality check. That card, the Eternal Soul, this card will end up becoming a glass cannon Raigeki and destroy your entire board. Yes, that's right. You got it. It's going to destroy your entire board. It's no lie. And with it destroying your entire board, you're gonna neg yourself so hard. And let's read the other effect. You can special summon one Dark Magician from your hand or graveyard, which is pretty useful overall in my personal opinion, seeing how we have cards like Call of the Haunted. When this card is once per turn Call of the Haunted, therefore you don't have to really run shit like, how should I say this? You don't have to run any Call of the Haunteds in the deck now, because this card will just bring back Dark Magician every turn. Up to the point this card came out, people were having to run shit like Call of the Haunted, or even Oasis if you really were afraid of not having Dark Magician Resurrection for the board. And then Eternal Soul came out, it still wasn't enough. Apprentice Illusion Magician is arguably the best card in the deck, and is literally the most expensive card in the game right now. And I honestly have never understood the hype behind this one deck. Because let's evaluate the metagame right now. Trident Chain Pop. First thing. And sure, you can run cards like Solemn Strike, but is Zoo not running Heavy Storm Duster, Cosmic Cyclone, and Twin Twisters right now? No. They are literally running these fucking cards in the 2s or 3s in their main or sideboard at the moment. Keep that in mind when doing your analysis on this deck. They're main decking those board wipes. They're clearing your fucking cards while they're putting their shit on the field. Just because you can run Disruption doesn't mean that they can't run it too. And they run it better because they literally only need one card in order to go off. Therefore, they can afford shit like Ash, like I've shown in some of my image video, where I make it a thumbnail, where they have 3 Ash and Rapier and Barrier and Dimensional Barrier in their hand, and that they can still go off. Yeah, Zoo only needs one card to go off right now. So Zoo can run Disruption. Zoo can run Disruption the best. And that's not even a lie. So Zoo matchups are still going to be your worst matchups of all. Now let's talk about True Draco. True Draco is possibly going to be even worse than Zoo for your ass. And I'm going to explain why. True Draco is literally all about destruction and disruption, in the form of their spells and traps activating in grave and Masterpiece on field. Being able to just fucking destroy your shit even before you have a chance to play it. And on top of that, keep in mind, ladies and gentlemen, that Masterpiece can make himself unaffected by your effects. Literally, the only advantage you may have is being able to use Magician's Navigation on Diagram, and that's being generous. Like I've said multiple times in the past. Dark Magician being able to take out the True Draco deck is nothing more than illogical thinking that obviously is not being thought through by the slightest moment. Now, this deck has a little bit easier Dino matchup, because you don't really make your extra deck happen really often. Therefore, Lythos Agam the Disaster really isn't going to be tearing away very much. But in the very end, Tyranno Infinity is still a problem. They can make Tornado Dragon or Abyss Dweller mad easily, or Evolsaur, Dokia, and Lagia. They can still make those cards mad easy, therefore cutting off your plays entirely. The moment they put a Tornado Dragon on the field, and you already used Dark Magical Circle that turn, you're basically done. They have the Yang Zing engine, which is basically Solemn Judgment engine. Solemn Judgment deck. But yeah. And if they can get that disruption up, they're going to beat you anyways. Dark Magician literally has no place in this meta right now. no place. And even after the bans comes, I feel Draco is still going to be relevant. It'll have to convert to invoked versions, but it's definitely going to still be one of the most relevant decks out there. And if Dinos don't get touched at all, they're going to flat out become the best deck, dominating over 1/3 of the metagame, of being around 40% of the entire metagame in the TCG. Just like they did in the OCG, aka Japan and China, Korea, Singapore, and all the other Asian nations. So keep that in mind. Keeping that in mind, you shouldn't be making assumptions like, say, oh, Dark Magician has Magical Circle, it can banish cards during the player's turn. No, because the whole problems of this entire deck break down from this one card. And arguably after this format passes and we go into a new meta, ABC is going to become the best deck. There's nothing stopping them from running Diamond Dyers in the Diamond Dyer Wolves in the main, and being able to just link summon in the proxy and then the decode after that. There's nothing stopping them from doing that. There's nothing stopping Windwitch players from making Crystal Wayne. There's nothing you can run that will possibly stop them in the Dark Magician deck. And keep in mind that Dark Magician has its own consistency issues. And with Ash Blossom being a 3 of right now, I don't think you'll be able to resolve a Prince Illusion Magician in order to search the Magician, which is literally the deck's best way of getting to Dark Magician right now. And that's being generous. And keep in mind that when you activate Eternal Soul to search the Dark Magic attack, or Thousand Knives, if you even play that trash can in your deck today, to date, as right now today, your opponent can simply chain Ghost Ogre to this card and simply blow it up without even having to use their board wipes like Twin Twisters or anything like that. And keep in mind, like I've said before, kaijus are still a huge issue in the game. Being able to kaiju over your Dark Magician for free entirely. And remember, the moment that you activate this card, they'll be able to chain a Ghost Ogre to it. Therefore, it's going to die, it's going to fizzle out. And the kaiju that it was just given to you is also going to die and return to the original player's graveyard. Therefore, when doing this analysis on Dark Magician, you cannot argue with me that Dark Magician is horrible in this current meta. I mean, possibly one of the worst decks overall you can run in this current meta. You cannot argue with me about that. Sure, they can run Dimensional Barriers. Sure, they can run Strikes. Sure, they can run Warnings. Sure, they can run all these fucking spicy cards. Sure, they can run Skill Drain. But that doesn't stop a deck like True Draco or Zoo from doing the same. Every deck can run all these techs, but Zoo can run it the best, in my personal opinion. Zoo and True Draco are the best decks right now because they can run tech cards the best. True Draco has easy +3s with card demise. Being able to just draw no more draw cards, draw a search, draw a search, draw a search, and always being able to draw in or search into the cards that they side in. Zoo literally only needs one card in order to go off, which is why they can open going first, Rapier, Triple Ash, and D-Barrier, and still be able to wing it. Because that's just how it works, if your opponent doesn't have any disruption in hand. And that's being generous. And Dark Magician, I say, will need at least 3 cards in order to go off properly. Being Dark Magician in hand. Well, actually, let me break it down more simply for you guys. 4 cards, actually. You need a Prince Illusion. You need the discard outlet. You need Eternal Soul or Magician Navigation. And you need Dark Magical Circle. And Dark Magical Circle activating is not guaranteed to get you those spells that you need. Or those spells and traps that you need in order to be able to get to the Magician. You need 4 cards, 4 specific cards in your hand consistently, all the time, in order to be able to get this shit rolling. That's a horrible way to play Yu-Gi-Oh! Considering that not arguably the best deck right now, you can't even argue, Zoo literally only needs 1 card Two, if you're worried about shit like a pointer at the red lotus being used against you, or Mind Crush being teched against you in order to get your plays rolling. That being Rapier or Barrage, or any zoo monster on their own, actually. Is all they need in order to end with Hammercom and Trident. Hammercom, which prevents you from targeting, which basically turns on your zoos in the Cosmos, and Trident, which is during either player's turns, disruption and popping, to be honest. And that's the truth. It doesn't get any more complicated than that. And it's that fucking simple. And now I'm going to talk about what a Dark Magician may be able to do in next meta. Dark Magician is still going to suck when the new decks roll out. Magibullets, where they literally only need a certain specific type of support card they're looking for in order to become a tier 0.5 deck, where literally only one or two other decks in the format are going to dominate alongside them. Being Dinos and Dracos, of course. Magibullets, that's all they need. One card like a Zodiac Barrage-like card in order for Magibullets, aka Magical Musketeers, she names, to dominate. And it's all they need. And it's sad because they can get all their effects in hand, and they're all fucking hand traps. They can simply use their counter trap from hand in order to negate your Eternal Soul or your Solemn Strike when you're trying to make use of them. Dimensional Barrier does nothing to this deck. Strike is your only way of working around this entire deck. Therefore, they have literally a hand trap, in a sense, that can stop Strike. And they have Ties to the Breath of It, which allows you to bring back out more Magibullets from the main deck and be able to, you know how it wins. Recur their spells and traps from the grave back to hand as they're making use of their effects. Just keep that in mind, man. It's a lot you can do with the Dark Magician cards now. I'm sorry. There's a lot you can do with Magibullets, though. There's a lot you can do with Dark Magician too, but again, core cards, Eternal Soul, garbage. You have to find a way to stay away from Eternal Soul in order to make your list competitive and decent for the new ages of Yu-Gi-Oh! I know that I'm going to be uploading this like around 2-something in the morning, but I woke up and I decided that I wanted to do this video after watching Cap G's video about how that she's up in price. And I feel it was a good video. And he's right. She is the most expensive non-YCS prize card in the game right now. She is legit the most expensive non-YCS prize card in the game right now. Aside from the YCS prize cards, which are like one or two of a kind, she's the most fucking expensive legal card in the game right now. In the TCG. Going for that high price, I feel it was a good video. I feel it was good information. So a lot of people say all of Cap G's vids are clickbait, but some of his videos could be good. Unlike Asian Eyes. Asian Eyes just became pure shit. But yeah. I'll stop roasting YouTubers now. But yeah, Cap G's video, to be into the conclusion of this video, was very informative. He was talking about how she's so up in fucking price. This video is, in a sense, response to it, explaining why Dark Magician isn't going to make the cut and why you shouldn't throw away that kind of money on this deck. And yeah, everything else for the deck is cheap now except her. And I'm going to explain to you why she went up. The reprint of Dark Magical Circle and the Magician Navigation. Two cards that held a lot of her value to this day. But now they cannot hold her value no longer. Since they got reprinted and are easy to get now, guess what? The Dark Magician slut, Apprentice Illusion Magician, must go up in price now in order to make adjustments and adjustications for the value overall of the entire deck. And that's why you're going to be seeing her as a $140 staple for a long time until she gets her reprint and the deck finally becomes a budget deck once and for all. And by the time this deck becomes a budget deck, it's going to be overshadowed by whatever is dominating the game at that point. And that's just me being honest. There is not really anything you can do with Dark Magicians to make them tier 1 right now. And if you think that Dark Magicians are even that close to being meta, y'all niggas are in denial. Because this shit ain't doing anything. While it's built to rely on Eternal Soul. In conclusion, Dark Magician though itself definitely needs more support in order to be able to function in the new days. Cards like Magician of Black Illusions and the Finished Illusion Magician are the saviors of this card, but are not necessarily enough to save him. Artifact Molotov signing out. Have a good night. Peace.